What's up? What's up? This is the check in. Excuse me while I get these privacy settings checked, and we'll begin the show. Um, yeah, it is the check in, and I am your boy Heat Detector from the Unwrapped channel. Oh, man, what a week. What a day. What a month. What a year. Um, I'm almost done here. Before I even get started, let me start by giving the disclaimer. So, it, by no means am I a psychiatrist, therapist, or anything of that nature. Uh, I'm just a dude who's going through my own journey in life. And I started doing this show with the hopes to helping other people that are along in their journey as well. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of things to unravel. There's a lot of layers, to this onion of life, so to speak. And yeah, so not a therapist, just a dude standing next to the dude, standing next to the other dude. Um, Also, too, if you are thin skinned and don't like to take accountability or anything like that, just change the channel. If you don't like cursing, change the channel. I tend to have a dirty ass mouth. I just cursed. But I speak what's on my mind and I speak freely. I do my best to filter what I say, but a lot of times I don't have too much of a filter. And I'm working on that though, because I guess what I've been learning as of late is that my delivery, a lot of times it's my delivery that throws people off. And even though I may be in a great mood or for all intents and purposes be happy as hell, and however I deliver my message or however I'm saying something, asking a question or whatever, comes off a little rough, a little, might be a little much for some. But today I wanted to talk about, yeah. Anyways, like if you dream of bunny rabbits and unicorns and cotton candy and all of that, and you're easily offended and thin skinned, man, just go to another channel. There's no reason to report this channel or anything like that. We're not here. I'm not here to offend anybody or put anybody down, do anything of that nature, so, or disrespect anyone. So if you don't like what you hear, just go to another channel. But this particular show is to help people, figure out, get tools to help themselves to be mentally in a better place, in a better space in their life, because it's extremely important. I think a lot of times we walk around and we don't realize that we are in a bad space, that we are um, working, uh, living in a really bad space in our minds, yeah, in our behaviors and how we treat people and how we act to people. And I'm not saying you got to go around hugging everybody or doing anything like that. I'm saying that at times in life, we don't realize that we're operating in that manner. We don't realize that we're being rude or that we're um, acting out or doing anything like that. And a lot of times we don't even know that shit. And so I like to bring some light to some of that stuff and hopefully um, give people understanding, because I'm going through it. I go through it every day. And as my loving sister says all the time, we're a constant construction site. We're constantly under construction. And when you come from certain backgrounds, of violence and abuse and things of that nature. And once you really start to figure those things out, it's a constant work. It's a constant battle. It's something that you really, really have to pay attention to. If you want to change, you have to really pay attention to it, because we're so accustomed to just operating in that manner that we don't even realize we do shit. We don't even realize we're defensive or we're angry all the time. We don't realize these things until you become self-aware. Once you become self-aware, it's like, oh shit, did I just say that? Or oh shit, did I just think about doing that? Or oh damn, what the hell is going on? Or you have this like epiphany, like, damn, am I really like this? Or is this how I really behave? Excuse me. And that leads me to the topic of the show. Excuse me. I'm tired. I'm extremely tired. And one thing is that I've noticed about being in these heightened states of being emotional or angry or whatever, frustrated or whatever, when your brain is working, it is like it's like a workout in a gym. And you literally physically get tired. So a lot of people maybe not even know that they're going through shit, but they're just always tired and may not realize that they're tired because of that brain is constantly going. This shit is overwhelming. This shit is exhausting. It's exhausting mentally and it's exhausting physically, like extremely exhausting. And it's hard to keep a handle on all that shit. But I said that to talk about a couple of things, because I know a lot of times why do I feel like I keep, like, the topic is, why do I feel like I keep getting knocked out of my square? Because I hear people say that all the time. Oh, they so and so, they knocked me out of my square. Or they got me out my bubble or whatever. And it's like, what is that square? Okay, let's think about that real quick. Is the square like, okay, this is my safe haven, my safe place, my safe spot, and then when somebody knocks you out of it, what does that mean? You just reverted to some old behaviors. You reverted to what you know. You reverted to uh, survival mode. You went into you just skipped past fucking fight or flight. You just went straight to fight. You know what I'm saying? What is it? You know, I've been in situations where somebody who normally is like the nicest person ever, very kind, whatever, and then somebody does something, and then all of a sudden, there's this person that surfaces that you go, holy shit, uh, what the fuck? Who is that? Like, you don't even, you recognize the person physically, but what's coming out of their mouth and what they're saying and how they're behaving, you don't recognize that shit at all. You're like, God damn. And I've seen it happen. I've done it my damn self, and it's hard to keep those things in check. It's hard to, be aware of it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, a lot of things are just uh, simmering right below the surface. You think you got a handle on the shit. You cool. And really all it takes is one thing. And a lot of times it may not even be what's happening in that moment. It may not be what's happening in that moment. It could be something that happened earlier on in the day. Uh, yeah, shout out to Microphone Misfits TV. He's right. He says fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Yeah, I was going to say that, but I couldn't exactly remember the rest of them. But yeah, some people just go right past that. You know what I'm saying? I just lost my train of thought. But it's tough when that shit is just like simmering right below the surface, and so like I said, like it could be something that happened earlier on in the day, but then a word or a movement or something triggers something in you, and it just takes you to a place, and sometimes And I've seen it, and it's happened to me where as soon as that trigger hits, like everything shuts down, and the only thing that is right there is that reaction, that that rah rah, that hey fuck you, hey I'll kill you, I'll beat your ass, I'll do this, I'll do that. Yeah, everything else goes out the window. And seeing this happen, like in real time with someone, especially with someone you care about, it's scary. It's scary in the sense that that I think we're all kind of like walking around kind of like ready to explode most of the time, and it's scary to see that in someone you care about. And I can't even imagine what that looked like with me before. You know what I'm saying? And I say all these things because I think a lot of men, I think we walk around and we think if we don't have this outer that says, nothing can penetrate this fucking wall of steel or titanium of feelings, you know what I'm saying? But listen, when I say it's scary, I don't mean like it's nothing about it says that I'm weak. It's nothing that says that you're weak as a person. It's scary because if you truly care about somebody, you worry. And that worried me when I saw that out of this person. Like, god damn. And plus, as being an elder statesman in the damn community, to see someone that's a little older flip the fuck out, it's a little worrisome. You know what I mean? And they say, "Oh, with age comes wisdom." Yeah, I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? We learn things over our lifespans, but some of us have hard lessons, but we didn't learn anything from them. Things happen, we didn't learn shit from them, or maybe we thought we did and thought we were able to move past it and move forward, but we didn't, or we weren't. You know, and it's tough to think about those things. It's tough to think when I have conversations with people that knew me back in the day, like I think I might even trigger them because like I'm not responding to them the way that they were accustomed to me responding. I don't give off that same energy, but other times, I've been guilty of it, where someone says something and all of a sudden, like the words are right there, what I want to say that are correct, but they don't come out correct. They come out like fuck, somewhere between here and here, they get lost in translation. Because here it says, "No, that's fine. Um, I can relate to that, or I can appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention." The others, by the time it reaches here, it's like, "Man, what the fuck are you talking about? Why don't you mind your fucking business?" Like, oh shit. Especially when you're aware of it, you're like, "Oh shit, I can't believe I just said that." Like now you got to backtrack and be like, "Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to I didn't mean to come off like that or whatever." But sometimes it might be too late when something like that happens. But it has happened, and I've seen it happen. And then we have to, we don't have to, but the backtracking, because if you really, really are a person who's making those steps to be better and to treat others better and to behave better and to, when I say behave now, all you adults and some of you people don't. I'm not talking like as a child. Behave like a damn adult. Behave like a human being. Um, when they realize that and they check that the next day or the next hour or two or whatever, and it's like fuck. I now I got to backtrack and apologize. Now I got to do this and now I got to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's tough. It's tough. You know, it's tough to have integrity. It's tough to have morals. We live in a moralist society. We live in a we live in a society where people don't have integrity. But if they do, they don't use it. Most people. I'm not going to say all people, but and it's tough. It's tough to hold on to things. It's tough to hold on to the right things. How about that? When everything else around you may seem to be falling apart, or may seem to be bad, or may seem to you inappropriate or whatever. It's hard to hold on to, what you know is right when you feel like japping the fuck out, when you feel like, doing some shit. But what do? You got to stop. You got to breathe. You got to evaluate. Do some critical thinking. Take a deep breath. Remove yourself from the situation. How about that? Remove yourself from the situation, then take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Come back in and then apologize. That way you save yourself some uh, feelings of embarrassment or whatever for to come back and apologize. Just take a deep breath. Move out the way for a second. Because we all have this shit. I know I do. We all have this shit that seems to be, like I said in the description, it seems to be just simmering right there. And you got to fight that. You got to fight that from bubbling over 24/7. And some of us that come from backgrounds of extreme violence or abuse, mental or physical or sexual abuse, uh, it's hard to keep that shit under control. The feelings of anxiety and being triggered by things and people, and it's tough, especially when you become aware of when these things happen. It's like, god damn, all of a sudden my heart rate is up. All of a sudden I'm feeling anxious. All of a sudden I'm feeling like I'm about to lose my shit. What do I do? What do I do? You know, do I say what I'm thinking? You know what I mean? Do I sit down and just chill the fuck out? Do I go and talk to somebody? Do I call somebody? Do I remove myself from the situation and take a breather? Excuse me. And a lot of those decisions are made right there on the cuff, and a lot of times those decisions aren't made right. Not that the person meant to react that way. I don't think, when I seen it happen recently, I don't think that person meant for that to react that kind of way. But for whatever reason, it snowballed. And once that fucking snowball started going, there was no stopping. Literally. It ended up being calmed down and everything else, but it got really bad and it got really intense really, really, really fast. And it just led me to think all day long about it and think about, what does a person do? What are the necessary steps? How do you recognize that? Because I know that, like, in my mind, like, sometimes I think they call it like imposter syndrome, when I'm over here, I'm making all these changes, and then, people are treating me different, and I'm feeling like, man, wait, did I really change, or am I just faking this shit? You know what I mean? Is this shit for real, or am I, it's tough. I know that I am putting in the work every day. I know what I'm doing every day. I see how people interact with me, but still there's a feeling like, man, am I really changing? You know what I mean? Especially if you lose it for a second. You know what I'm saying? That like, fuck, did I get triggered? Or what in the hell triggered me? The other day I was feeling some kind of way, and I secluded myself. I went into this little, like, dark space, and my thoughts started going wild again, and it was insane because here I was for the past year, like 2 years, thinking I had this shit under control. Excuse me. And I literally almost spun completely out of control, like mentally, by myself. But I was really grateful that the fact that number one, I was aware of it. Number two, that, like, I have learned over the years tools to help me deal with these things. And so I was able to, fight off the beast, so to speak. Am I 100% feeling like myself? No. No, but I'm better than I was because I was going down a dark ass rabbit hole again. And I thought I was over that, and I wasn't. And I had to really reel myself in, you know. And I began to think about things, and I would redirect my thinking into something more positive, thinking about my goals and my aspirations and the people that I love, the people that love me, and it put me in a better space. You know, I'm still fighting with some things right now, but it's not as intense. It's not as bad. It could have got worse, but I'm working, constantly working on it. And that's one thing I would tell anybody right now is like, don't give up on yourself. Don't do it. It's too much and too much to gain, too much happiness to have. I don't think I've ever been this happy in my life. When I really, 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 truly think about it, I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with, I'm not happy with how some things are going, but them shits is out of my control. Um, but for me, just me alone, how I feel about life and about friends and about family, man, I feel great. Sometimes, family can be family. They be family and, like life be life and family be family and, but I was in a whole different space some years ago, and the space that I'm in now, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with it, and I'm proud of myself. Which that's a tough one. Even saying that out loud, I needed to hear myself say that I'm proud of myself because that's a tough one because I don't think I've ever been really been proud of myself for doing something. I've been proud of myself for doing music and doing other things. I'm proud of this podcast. I'm proud of the YouTube channel. I'm proud of all of that kind of stuff. But being proud of myself, like, look, look at what you did. Look at what you're doing. You know what I mean? And looking at myself in the mirror and saying, look at you, man. You are all right. You are all right. Finally being able to be that, I say all the time that like before, like my outer didn't match my inner. My outer was on some other shit, and my inner never wanted no smoke, you know. And I look at myself now, and I just go, man, look, you're not all tense all the time anymore. Not all fucking ready to snap. You know what I'm saying? Ready to like lose it. I'm more fluid with my thoughts. I'm more fluid with who I am and understanding. What I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. What I'll deal with and what I won't deal with. What I'll allow and what I won't allow. Without being upset and without losing my shit or without arguing. You know what I'm saying? Being able to have that kind of control, man. I'm proud of myself. 100%. Because I come from a place where having that kind of self control was looked down upon. Because now I look like if I have this kind of self control, I'm weak. I'm less of a man. I'm less of if I don't walk around with my chest out, ready to shoot 'em up, bang bang all the goddamn time, or fight all the damn time. And that shit alone is tiring. It's exhausting. Who wants to do that? Who wants to walk around like that all damn day long? And I find myself sometimes in the midst of a conversation with someone think like the old shit will pop out and I'll be like, is this motherfucker trying to play me? Does this motherfucker think I'm stupid? You know? And I'll have to catch myself because I'll want to say some real fucked up shit. I'll want to say like, hey man, who the fuck you talking to? Like, or whatever, whatever that exchange may be, but I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel like saying it. I ain't gonna say I don't feel like it because sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll be looking at a motherfucker a little sideways, like, "Hey man, what the fuck is you talking about?" But I don't act on it. You know what I'm saying? And then like being self aware, I think it's thrown around a lot, and I don't think people understand. Some people maybe I don't know what that may mean. I don't know exactly what it means, but I know what it means for me to be self aware. Yeah, I know what it means for me to be self aware. I know how my brain works most of the time. And for me to be self aware is like to catch those thoughts, like immediately, to be aware of those thoughts immediately and stop that shit immediately. Am I successful at it all the time? No, nope. But I'm aware of it. And sometimes it does slip out, and I'll be like, what, whoa. Let me back up. I apologize for saying that. You know what I mean? Excuse me. I didn't mean that way. I'm aware of it. You know, I think sometimes we're aware of shit, but we do it anyways. But I'm not only aware of the vocalization of it, but I'm aware of my body going through changes as all this shit's happening. I'm aware of my heart rate. I'm aware of my body tensing up. I'm aware of the thing, and I'm looking around. My eyes are darting around and shit. I'm looking at shit. I'm thinking about shit. Like I'm aware of myself physically getting to a place I don't want to go to. And I think that people should pay more attention to your body, your mind, and your body. These motherfuckers work in tandem. And if you start to feel like you're about to lose it, I'm pretty sure your body is about to lose it as well. Like your heart rate, you may start to sweat a little bit. You know what I'm saying? May even start to shake a little bit. Whatever. I mean, we're all of us as humans, we're probably have the same type of physical reaction, some different than others, but I'm sure it's pretty much the same thing. Like I said, I'm no psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just really just speaking from my own space and my own experience. You know what I'm saying? And I found like today, like it was important to talk about this because I know that when I've had moments like that, I've had to step back. The apology after the fact even feels more stupid. Like it's like, you fucking dummy. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why, Heat? Why? And a lot of times I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for that. All I can do is apologize and say shit like, I don't know, motherfucker knocked me out my square. You know what I mean? Whatever my fucking square is, knocked me right out of it. But how? What is that square? And what are the things that can push me out of that square? Are there triggers? Hmm? Is it something? Is it some trauma or something? Something triggers that trauma, and I don't know how to control my reaction. Can I go? Do I go into straight fucking safety mode, or to protect myself mode, or feel like I need to protect myself mode? I don't know what mode it is. I know it ain't cool. You know, I I said something today to someone. I said, I don't feel the need anymore in my life to uh, be like violent or anything. And I really don't feel like being violent for family members, but I'll be violent for my family members if you. And I said that, and like as far as protecting them, that's it. Protecting. I don't know if it was fucking zombies coming in the fucking house. I would protect them. If there was an intruder in the house, I would protect them. I would do everything to protect them. But just going out and starting some shit and doing some shit, no, I'm cool on all that. But I'll protect them for sure, 100%. But that's where I am right now. The old me would have been like, well, fuck it, anybody can get it. Who wants to smoke? Fuck it, let's go. And I think some of that was also too, I just didn't give a fuck. I was so fed up with life. I was so fed up with things. I was so fed up with being fed up. I was fed up with myself. I didn't give a fuck what happened to me. You know, I got into a fight one time and just let a motherfucker just beat on me. I said, fuck it. Just looking at him as he was beating on me. Because my self-esteem was that goddamn low. The hatred for myself was that goddamn low. I'm not even kidding. I could whoop this motherfucker's ass easily. And I allowed that motherfucker to fuck me up. And just laid there. That's a terrible place to be in. That's a terrible place to be in. I don't ever want to go to that place. Not for the ass whooping. The ass whooping wasn't shit. I could take an ass whooping. That wasn't shit. I let him do that shit. It was why I did it. It was because I hated myself. Why did I allow this motherfucker to do? Why did I just lay there? And actually, I started it. I wanted it to happen. I was drunk and I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about life. I honestly thought he was gonna beat me to death. That's what my thought was. Let him beat you to death. Fuck it. And I allowed it to happen. The next day I was like, I had a black eye, busted lip and shit. And I said, what's wrong? What happened? I told him, I let this motherfucker whip my ass. I let him do it. What? Yeah. Real shit. Sounds crazy, but it's a true story. True as fuck. Couldn't be no more truer. I let him. I laid there looking at him. Bah, he's hitting me and I'm just looking at him. Bah, just looking at him. Bah, he's punching me. I'm just looking at him. Literally laughing and talking shit. I don't care. I was already out of my square. I was a mile away from my square. I didn't give a fuck. But that kind of shit is scary. When you and when you see a loved one, I couldn't even imagine loved ones seeing me like that. So when I said I seen someone get out of their square and I seen how they responded and how they were behaving, it worried me. It worried me because I had already been to a place like that. I had been to a place 10 times worse than that. You know what I'm saying? So I know where that can go. Maybe they wouldn't do what I did to that extreme, but I know where that could go. And especially this person did so much and had been doing so much, not had been, but is doing so much work on themselves. And to see them just lose it, you know what I'm saying? Was craziness, and it led me to sit back and think damn, what triggered that? What's the cause of for old behaviors? If you're a person who is doing all of the work to be better, if you're a person who's doing everything, man, you're following the fucking rule book, the handbook of life, man, and you're doing everything you can to be a better person. What the fuck is it that can knock you out of your shit? Let's say you're 10 years into, you haven't, excuse me, drank anymore. You don't fuck around anymore. You're about your business. You go and you're educating yourself. You're doing all of these things that you missed out on doing to better yourself before in your past and all of that shit. And now you're this shining example of how a person can make a beautiful turnaround in their life. And in that instant, you're taken back to this person doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, that scared me, man. That worried me for that person. That worried me for me. I know the depths of hell I went. That worried me for me. I was had made me start thinking that's why in the description it says, did I even change? Did I get triggered? What's causing old behaviors to surface? And why do they seem like they're simmering just below the surface at all times? Because it's scary. I don't want, and I will not be that person that I was. I can't afford to. For me. I can't afford to for me. I don't have that much life currency to afford that shit. You know what I'm saying? Every bit of currency that I have in my life right now it's all divvied out. I can't afford anything else. I can't afford that fuck shit. If it was a car, I'd look at it and say, yeah, nah, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. Shit. I'm in the Walmart of life right now, and everything in it I can afford. But yeah, I can't afford any of that stuff. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't want any of those behaviors. I don't want any of that lifestyle. I don't want any of that thinking. And I know that there's people out there that feel the same way. They feel the same way. And how do we get to keeping those thoughts to be good and to for the betterment of self? How do we get to not what we don't want to do? I know that these things they're just below the surface, and we don't want to stuff them. I said something today about I know that they're there and they're simmering just right below the surface, and I can't deal with all of them at once. But when something does pop up, I deal with that. I prioritize that. I prioritize these feelings. What's more important? Because some of these feelings, they're not that big. They're manageable. But if they all were to come up at one time, yeah, it'd be a fucked up situation. And I can't afford that. So I don't know. I just thought it was something that needed to be talked about tonight. So if you feel like you're about to be knocked out of your square, pushed out of your bubble, or whatever terminology you may use, take a second. Think about that. Don't let your hard work of being you. Don't let anybody dictate that. Don't let anybody dictate how you respond, how you react, and how you behave. Don't let anybody dictate that, because you're in charge of that. You're 100% in charge of how you react, how you behave. Nobody else is in charge of that. You can point at that motherfucker and say, it's because they did. Nah, but you didn't have to respond the way that you responded. You didn't have to do any of that shit. You don't have a contract. You don't have a fucking $1 million contract or some shit to respond like that every time it happens. You don't have nothing. You're in charge of that. Be aware of your body. If you start to get tense and you start to feel some kind of way about something, check yourself real quick. Do a mental check. Check your breathing. You know what I'm saying? Take a deep breath. Relax for a second before you respond. These seem like they're little dumbass things, but these are actually really good tools. And it has helped me throughout my journey is to take a deep breath, especially before I'm getting ready to say something that I know can be volatile as fuck. I take a nice breath and I think before I speak, and I don't let the situation mishandle me. I handle me. And I think people, if you're out there and you're feeling these things, take a deep breath. If you're at work, and let's say Billy Badass that fucks with you every day is at work and he's there too. He might be having a bad day too, but that doesn't mean you have to engage his ass. That does not mean you have to um, reply or anything to. You're in charge of that. Billy Badass can't fuck with you. Only if you allow him. Don't let him, Billy Badass, knock you out of your square. Be in charge of your square. It's your domain. Your brain is your domain, you know? But I just wanted to talk about that today, real quick. It's a little light show tonight, but I felt like it was important. Let's breathe, people. Don't revert. Don't take backward steps. It is 100% harder than it seems, but you can do it. You can most definitely do it. You are in charge of what you think of. You're in charge of what you think about shit. You're in charge of your behaviors. You're in charge of who you love, who you don't love. You're in charge of all of that. The only person can dictate your behavior and dictate your actions is you. No one else. And I needed to talk about that today, not just for myself, but maybe somebody else needed to hear that because of what I saw happen. I thought, damn. Right when you think somebody's got it under control, they don't. But they do. They made that choice. They could have let that shit go, but they didn't. They could have took a deep breath, but they didn't. They could have watched what came out of their mouth. They could have thought about it before they said it, but they didn't. And that led to a whole bunch of other shit. Let's be in charge of ourselves, people. Let's be better to each other, people. Yeah. With that being said, this has been the check-in. I'm your boy Heat. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe. I'll be back next Sunday with the check-in, just like clockwork. Also have on Monday, we have Whoop-de-Whoop Sports on this channel as well. On Tuesday, we have the Trust Tree with the Nashvino. Wednesday and Thursday, we don't have anything yet, but we will. We're going to be owning this 8:30 slot. Not Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday and Thursday, we don't have anything, but we will be having something coming soon. On Friday, we have Unwrap the Podcast. Dope as fuck. One of my favorite shows that I am the host of with the Nashvino. And then on Saturdays, we have Can I Kick It with Swipe God the Engineer and Buzzed and Beyond. They're on episode, well, this weekend there'll be episode goddamn 3. They working it out, though. Them motherfuckers be getting high as hell. All right. It's been one, and as you know, I'll be back next Sunday. It's been good. Be good to yourself, people. Show yourself some grace. And breathe through it. This is Heat. This has been the check-in. Peace, peace.